Welcome to CASA Parenting. This is week 4, creating routines and structure. My name is Joylyn Allard. I am the therapist here at CASA, and I am joined today with Leslie Minton, our children's program manager. The course expectations remain the same. Please silence all phones and only answer any emergency, and make sure that your social media and other fun things on your phone are not being a distraction from the material for yourself in this presentation. Participate in conversations and ask questions when you are comfortable doing so in the forums on Google Classrooms. And when you do interact with others or post yourself, please be kind and respectful of the instructors and other participants, and keep in mind the privacy and confidentiality of yourself and others in the group. Don't share what others have shared in the forums, and also keep in mind what you're comfortable sharing, and don't share anything that you're uncomfortable sharing. And also, do not give out the group materials to others. That includes the link to this classroom. Don't share the PowerPoint, the videos, anything. If you know people who are interested in this course, refer them to us, and we can enroll them in the course themselves. And also keep track of your own certificates, because as instructors we do not keep copies of the ones that have your names and our signatures on them. We only keep copies of attendance and participation and what week you attended, not whether or not you have a certificate and you've received one. The learning objectives for Week 4 are to learn about the importance of routine and structure, creating your own routine, learning about rewards and chores, practicing making a chore chart, practicing making family rules, and learn about how to create structure, routines, and family rules within your household. In this bottom corner, there is a QR code that contains the video playlist for the videos in this week. You can also find that in the Google Classrooms. The link should be in there under a material in week 4. And if you can't get either of those to work, you can also go to YouTube and type in CASA Parenting Week 4, creating routine and structure, and the playlist should show up in that search. Routine versus structure. So routine is defined as a mechanical and habitual procedure, reiterated speech, pre-thought out and repeated sequences to a particular task. Routines are how families organize themselves and get things done and have fun. And every family has its own unique routines. They help family members know what to do, when to do it, in what order, and how often. For example, brushing teeth, practicing a speech, rehearsing a dance, etc. Routines, when we say who should be doing what and when and in what order and how often, it also helps if something happens, like a house fire, and your kids are teenagers and they're home alone. So when the firefighters come, they're like, "Where's your mom?" or "Where's your dad?" They can be like, "Oh, they're at work." This is their work number or their phone number, so they know how to get a hold of you or where you should be. Structure is the action of building and arranging and organizing a relationship between elements, such as giving directions, imposing rules, the use of discipline, setting limits, establishing and follow through on consequences, holding your children accountable for their behaviors, and teaching them values, such as when you're making buildings or in your career, there's going to be that structure, and there's structure in books and magazines and films and friendships and family. There's structure in a lot of things.
Think about all the things you do that are a part of your routine. Do you stop at the same coffee shop? Use the same bus stop? frequent the same places to shop? Do you do the same things in pretty much the same way every day? You probably have some routines in your life, even if you don't realize it. And those routines provide you comfort and security. They make sure that everything's going to get done. They make sure that you're where you need to be and that a lot of things happen. How do you feel when you're not able to complete your routine? For example, when you wake up late or you're rushed to get out of the house? You feel out of sorts? Stressed out? It's no different with children. A child who lacks routines faces a different maze every day. Imagine waking up to a corn maze every single day, every morning, not knowing what twists and turns are going to be happening, not knowing what's expected of you or what you can expect from your environment. Children need routines even more than we do. Routines help them to feel safe and secure and let them know what's expected of them and what they can expect from the people and the world around them. Having routines can lead to less challenging behaviors from kids because they're less frustrated, they're less afraid, they feel more secure and confident. They know what's going to happen, they know what to do next and how to do it. By having routines, they learn about time, trust, following a pattern, and there's comfort in all that. Just having a routine brings you comfort. What parents can do is think about things that can be done in a particular order most of the time. For example, brushing teeth, putting on pajamas, reading a book, and going to bed. By creating more routines in your child's life, you just might see less challenging behaviors from them. Routines, they matter.
Why kids, and yes, even teenagers, need routine. Routines provide a sense of security. Children fear the unknown, and children handle change best when it is expected and occurs in a context that is familiar to them. And unpredictable changes deteriorate their sense of safety and mastery and can make children anxious and less able to cope. So it helps them feel safe, it helps them know what to expect. It would be like going to someplace that's unfamiliar to you, and we're traveling someplace and not having a GPS that works effectively. It's telling you, turn here, turn there, and you have to weave across all that traffic, and it's making you really scared because you don't know what's coming next.
Also, routines are twice as important for kids with like any type of disability, developmental disability, physical disability. For one, because it's giving you the time you need to do all the things that need to be done. And for two, it allows the child some predictability. Autism, for example, if they don't have a routine, they are much more likely to have like violent outbursts, screaming episodes, things like that, because they never know what's going on. And it affects them twice as much as it would a normal child.
Right.
Or a child without developmental disabilities.
And a lot of times, autistic children or people with developmental delays have to have a more structured routine than a regular child would need. It also assists in developing self-discipline and self-regulation. It teaches kids how to constructively manage themselves and their environments. It provides a closer bond with their caregiver and reduces power struggles because they know what to expect and what's expected of them. And there's less yelling when they know what's expected of them, and like less power struggles basically, and arguing and fighting about, I told you to do this, because they know they should do that, so they do it sometimes on their own or with very few reminders. It guides positive behavior and safety. You're basically telling them and reassuring him or her, these are the things that you're expected to do and you're allowed to do them. And these things are safe for you to do. It supports a child's social skills. It helps children cope with transitions, and it's important for learning. School has structure. The importance of having a family routine. Children do best when routines are regular, predictable, and consistent. Routines keep life organized and can prevent chaos. The importance of structure and routine are often taken for granted, All people need structure in their life, but little people especially. Here are some reasons why. It's for emotional and social development. Kids with family routines have been found to be more emotionally and socially advanced according to the National Center for Education Statistics. And children who participate in family routines may be better at expressing their feelings and understanding others, which can lead to academic success. This study also points out that when children are unhappy, insecure, or unsure of their environment, energy goes into dealing with that instead of going into their learning. Routines offer children security and a better learning environment overall. It also offers a sense of security. For children, the world is constantly changing, which can be stressful, and none of it they can control. Their bodies are changing, their parents' expectations change as they grow older or more mature. Teachers come and go each year, their friends move, their family may change. If these kinds of changes are largely out of the child's control, but predictable routines that are consistent allow children to feel safe and in control because they know what to expect. And then a sense of competence. With routines, children learn how to handle their own lives, which can build both their confidence and their independence. After a while, children will not need to be reminded about daily activities such as brushing their teeth, sitting down to do their homework, helping do their chores or doing chores, etc., taking a shower. Plus, they'll have an increased sense of competence and enjoy being in charge of themselves. This can give parents less of a reason to nag on them, or give children less of a reason to throw tantrums or rebel. It also helps with self-discipline. Predictable routines help children develop a self-discipline because they learn how to constructively control themselves and their environments, and it becomes like second nature to them, and they internalize those constructive habits that they have learned from the routines.
So like what that looks like is if when your child's learning that there's a balance between playing and cleaning up and eating lunch and things like that, they'll develop like an internal clock that helps them navigate those things as they get older, and that way you don't have somebody that's working all the time but neglecting their family, or somebody that's playing all the time and neglecting their responsibilities, because they learned that balance early on.
Right. The benefits to having routines and structure, so they're both important. Children need to know what to expect and have the ability to participate in it. It also causes predictable empowerment, which is when a kid feels good about themselves for like knowing what happens next and being able to do it. For example, I know I have to brush my teeth every night before bed or I'll get cavities and grounded. But Dad said every time I brush my teeth, I can get a sticker on my chart, and after 7 stickers, he will take me to the skate park. So that's the use of some reward systems, as well as helping them evaluate the consequences of not brushing their teeth. Here, the child learns and practices their healthy routine, as well as building structure, empowerment, encouragement, and positive bonding, because their dad told them something that they needed to know, and they trust that information because it's true. The benefits to routines are they reduce or eliminate power struggles, help kids learn to cooperate, help kids learn to take charge of their own activities, help children learn the concept of looking forward to things they enjoy. So if a part of your routine is, on Friday or Saturday after you had a good week at school, we can go to the park. They learn that they can look forward to something, because it doesn't happen randomly. It happens on a specific time at a specific day. Regular routines help kids get on a schedule. They help parents build in those precious connection moments. And schedules help parents maintain consistency in their expectations.
An example of a power struggle in routine would be without a routine, your child might be playing, and you tell them it's time to clean up, and they throw a fit because they want to keep playing.
Right.
With a routine, you tell your child, okay, it's time to clean up, and because there's a routine in place and they know this is the normal time they have to clean up, there isn't a fit. And if they do start to have a fit, you can always say, well, this is the time that we get ready to go to lunch. And that usually alleviates things because it's the routine and they're just being reminded of it.
Right. Whereas
otherwise they're trying to take control of the situation. And that's why we call it a power struggle.
They're trying to be a dictator. The three main keys to building structure and routine are consistency, so making sure you're doing the same thing or the same routine every day, or like say every Tuesday, whenever. So the routine's going to vary from day to day, but making sure that it's the exact same every time. Predictability, knowing or being able to expect what is going to happen next. Follow through, so like following through on like making them do those things on their routine, and enforcing consequences when they don't do it, and saying what you mean when you say, if you don't do this, then I'm going to do that. Those are the three main keys: consistency, predictability, and follow through. And I know a lot of parents struggle with 1 and 3.
And then consistency, I think sometimes we think that that's like we have to do it right on time every time or it's not consistent.
But at least in the same order.
But being in the same order and probably within 30 minutes. So like if lunch is usually at 11 and you're busy and it doesn't get done till 11:30, there's still consistency there because it's still the same time range, the same hour, and the same order. So it's still being consistent even though it's not right on time. Like you didn't fail because it wasn't 11 o'clock on the dot. And then follow through, it's really, when we get frustrated, it's really easy to say like outlandish things like, I'm going to sell you to a circus. But like having realistic consequences in place. And we'll talk more about realistic consequences like in the discipline. But making sure that they're realistic is really important. Because you want to be able to like give the consequence, and you're not really going to sell them to a circus. I would hope not anyway.
My kid had a turkey mask for Thanksgiving, and we went to the store, and he was wearing it, and it made his face look like a turkey because it had a beak and a gobbler on it, and I said, I'm going to convince them you're a turkey, and I'm going to sell you to them. He freaked out. It was just a joke, but he freaked out. I'm not a turkey, they're going to cook me!
Realistic consequences.
It was just a joke. It wasn't a consequence. But still. Don't sell your kid as a turkey. Here is an audio attention verification question. What are the three main keys to building and maintaining structures and routines, and why are they important? Pause here to write down the question, answer it, or create a document to be filled out in throughout the slideshow. There's going to be these audio and visual questions, and they're just to verify that you're paying attention to the content. So creating a document to turn in the Google Classroom, or writing them down to type into the correct form in Google Classrooms will suffice. So pause here to answer the question. 4 steps to creating family routine and rules is to identify the routine that you want or the family rule that you want to enforce. Explain the routine or the rule. Follow the routine and follow the rule. And then use consequences if those things aren't being, the rules or the routine aren't being followed to your liking. Step 1, and identify the routine. Some things to consider is the routine has to work for the whole family. If dad's watching the kids on Tuesday, but he has to take them here, 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 and here for practices and stuff, and it doesn't work for him because of his schedule or because there's too much on it, then it's going to fail. You're setting it up to fail. Think of all of the parts that should be in the routine. I know my kids' routine is very detailed. Wake up, brush your teeth. Wake up, eat breakfast, brush your teeth, get dressed, have some free time, and then they go to the car, and then there's school, and then after school. So it's very detailed. And so I make sure all of the parts of the things that I want them to do are in there and in the order I would like for them to be in. So also thinking about what order should everything happen. So you're not going to make them brush their teeth before they eat breakfast, or maybe I think someone said that that's actually the recommended way.
You are supposed to brush your teeth before breakfast because there's little germs. There's little bacteria on your teeth, and once you eat, it like concretes them to your teeth, and so it actually does you no good to brush after breakfast if you didn't brush before.
Interesting. I remember.
Me and one of my friends argued about it, so I googled it when I was younger.
I know I don't want to eat food and it tastes like toothpaste.
It's a catch-22.
So, depending on what order you think it should be done in. Or you're not going to have them go take a shower and then do the chores because they're going to get dirty. Type of stuff. Some recommendations, or it might be helpful to create a routine based on time schedules. So like at 6 o'clock to 6:30, wake up. So that gives them, or 15 minutes or something to like wake up. Because even as adults, do we really wake up when our alarm goes off? No. We gotta give kids time to process the fact that they're awake. Plan in quality time. Write your routine down and plan ahead. So say if you know on Thursday this week it's going to be different than Thursday last week, you can let them know like, hey, remember on Thursday this week we're doing this instead of this in our routine. Explain the routine. Make sure that your child understands it. Make sure they understand what you want them to do and when you want them to do it. Make sure that it's age appropriate and the language that you use is age appropriate. Younger children often need picture charts as well as reminders. Mine has times and pictures just for shits and giggles, basically. I got bored, so I made it very elaborate. And then follow the routine. Your child may not always wish to follow the routine. Heck, as adults, we probably don't even follow our routine every day. Or it might be difficult to follow the routine, especially if we're tired or stressed. But stick to the routine anyway. It will be beneficial in the long run. This will help your child know what you want them to do and to do what you ask them to do. Children will try to challenge and test it, especially if you're just getting to the point where you're putting this structure and routine in place. And they will also test it when they don't want to do something. But that's where that consistency and follow through is going to come in. Part of parenting is thinking about what is happening and why it is happening. So if a kid throws a fit every Tuesday before they go to soccer practice, why are they doing it?
Also, as you're implementing a routine, as you're putting it into place, it's okay if you have to revise it. Mm-hmm. Like if you made a routine and there's something that's not working for you, or kind of like Joylyn, if they're throwing a fit at a certain time every time and it's been a couple of weeks, start to explore why that's happening, and maybe there needs to be a change. Maybe there's not enough time between nap time and the next activity, or maybe they just don't like that activity and changing it up.
They don't like the activity, or they don't like the people that they're with because their coach is mean or their teammates are mean. It could be anything, but evaluating and having that healthy communication with them to find out why it's happening. Step 4, the use of consequences. use consequences as a positive reward or a negative consequence. Reward a child when your child follows the routine, and if your child resists the routine, remind them that there will be a consequence. One thing in my routine is if you follow it, you earn so many points, and once you earn so each point I think is worth a penny, and so each point they're working towards something. And then use if-then statements. For example, if you don't come to dinner, then you won't have playtime. And so my mom actually used one with my niece last night when she was babysitting her, and said, if you don't eat your dinner, you're going to have to take a shower and go to bed. And so she didn't eat her dinner, and she followed through. She had to eat dinner and go to bed. She didn't get her tablet. She didn't get TV. She went to bed. But she was given the choice, eat or bath in bed. And she was also given an if-then statement. And be consistent but flexible and open to change, because like Leslie said, if it's not working, you need to evaluate why it's not working and what would work better instead. Or if it would just be best to take it out.
Also, if you have a difficult, which we'll talk about this in discipline and consequences too, but if you have a difficult child, being realistic with what fulfilling a routine looks like is important too. Even as adults, we don't get our routine right every day, all day. I snooze my alarm probably 3 days out of the week. And so setting up a realistic expectation of how many times they're going to do the routine correctly is important. So if you have a positive consequence of they get to go to the park on Saturday, if they do this 4 times out of the week, then this is the positive consequence. But we'll talk more about that. But just being aware that it's unrealistic to expect them to fulfill it every time, all the time.
But even starting small with just a very basic routine, if you don't have one, you don't want to go in with a full-fledged, all-day, jam-packed routine. You're going to want to start small with the most important things, and then have a family meeting where you're like, okay, next week we're going to add these things to your routine. This is what your routine's going to look like.
And a lot of times, wake up, bedtime, and meal times are the easiest places to start, because there's already some sort of routine. It's just not patting down.
Yeah. Videos.
Structure is all the things we do in our homes to make our children feel safe and comfortable. Routines can help us add structure to our homes.
Structure definitely helps kids feel safe and secure because it helps them understand what's coming next. It helps make their lives more predictable.
There are 4 steps to creating a routine. Step 1. Identify a routine that works for your family. Think of all the things that should be part of the routine and in what order they should occur. It may be helpful to create routines around key times of the day, such as getting ready for bed or meal times. Keep in mind that the routine should work for the whole family and not just your child.
So it is important that we take time as parents and make a plan or a schedule or structure or something that we agree on, so that, again, in the moment, that makes it easier to access those particular strategies that you as parents want to use.
Step 2. Explain the routine. Make sure your child knows what you want him to do and when you want him to do it. Simple charts with pictures can help your child remember what to do. Young children may also need to be told and reminded what to do. Step 3. Follow the routine. Your child may not always want to follow the routine, especially when it means ending playtime or going to bed. It may also be difficult for you as a parent to always follow the routine. It may be harder when you are tired or stressed. Whenever possible, stick to the routine. This will help your child know what you want and do what you ask.
Kids will challenge and test structure, and I think part of parenting is thinking about what's happening and why it's happening. And sometimes kids will challenge structure or refuse to do something to kind of test the system.
Step 4. Use consequences. If your child resists following the routine, remind him there may be a consequence. For instance, say, if you don't come to the dinner table, you will not have playtime tonight. You can also try rewarding your child for following the routine. Be consistent with the routine and let your child know you expect it to be followed. A tip to keep in mind when using structure: just because you have a routine doesn't mean that you can't be flexible and do other things when something comes up. When the routine changes, let your child know about the change. This will help your child know what is happening and what you want them to do.
It's this balance between creating structure and not creating a level of rigidity that doesn't allow kids to explore, that doesn't allow for unexpected things to happen either to you or to your kid.
Having structure helps your child understand what you want him to do, which can lead to good behavior.
I'm constantly trying to create structure for Billy, even though he's only 2, because I know it's important. But man, is it hard. Hi, honey. I've made some changes to the family schedule and I just wanted to run them by you so you can have a real 50,000-foot view of some of the changes we're going to be making in the way we do things here, okay? Yeah. He sometimes struggles when we move from one thing to another, and I'm trying to add some new activities to his day. So naturally, I'm thinking pie chart. This chart here represents how you and I typically spend our day, not including nap times and potty breaks, of course. And as you can see here, playtime figures significantly, nearly 34% of our daily activities. Are you with me? My job? Well, I work as a project manager team lead in a large marketing agency. Why do you ask? Now, based on the advice of a majority of childhood education researchers, as well as decades of collective experience of mothers all across the U.S., your current age, which is 2, is the ideal time to begin introducing simple words and simple sounds as a preamble to reading. Are you pooping? I know what you're thinking. I'm not being detailed enough, right? I know it.
Thinking about what your routine or what you want your routine to look like ahead of time. Some parents like to post it, and maybe for young kids you would associate a picture or a graphic to it. The simpler you make it, the more likely you can adhere to it. If it's too complicated, it involves too many different steps, it's just setting it up for failure, and you don't want to do that. We want the structure, and the routine is supposed to promote success in the family.
Okay, hey, look, do you see? It's almost 5 o'clock, which means it's almost our new reading time. And then after reading time, you and I can go bake some cookies. What do you say? You're welcome.
It's all about setting up expectations for your children. So letting them know what's coming next is really important. So yeah, you can have the 5-minute warning. Okay, in 5 minutes, we're gonna go up and take a bath. That's really important.
When we're done here, we're gonna go upstairs and get washed up for dinner. So 5 more minutes, okay?
Okay. One thing that kids understand easily is step-by-step instructions. So one way to communicate around a structure or routine is by saying, first we'll do this, and then we'll do this.
Okay now, buddy, it's time for bed. It's really great. I feel like Billy and I are on the same page much more often now. He used to handle transitions really badly, but now he knows what's coming. Simplicity is the key. Simple and clear. In fact, I've started incorporating some of these simple and clear strategies into my life at work. It's going well. Okay, so you can see I've created some new visual materials to lead us through today's meeting. We'll be focusing on our client's new structure and how well it meshes with some of the projections that we made based on the marketing strategies that we developed at our last corporate retreat. But before we get started, why don't we take a short snack break? Then we'll begin in, we'll say 5 minutes. 5 minutes, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anybody need to use the potty?
I feel like that would get someone fired. Talking to your
That's
bosses.
actually a lot more normal than you think.
But talking to your other coworkers like they're idiots.
When I worked at a daycare, I'd end up going home and like doing that with my spouse, not my spouse, but my boyfriend at the time, because I was just used to being in that mode.
Yeah. It's a setting that you can't turn off.
Yeah.
So implementing the routine at home, post a routine where the child can see it. For me at home, I have mine, they're printed on like regular pieces of paper, but then I bought like a poster sized frame at Walmart, and I like pasted or taped them to it so that I can go in and I could use like a dry erase marker and mark off things that they've done, and it's posted on the wall for them to see it. I also use pictures and graphics, that's recommended for young children, as said before in the video and earlier in the PowerPoint. And the simpler you make the routine, the easier it is to follow on a daily basis. If it's too complicated, it's just setting your routine up for, failure. Structure and routine should promote the success of the entire family, not just the individual who the routine is meant for.
You love the magazine Today's Parent, and that's why we love to have Sasha Edmondson, the editor-in-chief of Today's Parent magazine. You reach out to so many parents, so many moms and dads out there, and today we want to talk about getting back on track for the new year with your family. I don't know if yours was like mine, but the holidays were one big extended pajama party with lots of bad snacks thrown in between.
Cookie palooza.
Right?
Absolutely.
So now you got to get on track, and not just for the grown-ups, for the kids, and get them back into a routine.
Absolutely, and I think the thing that we need to prevent ourselves from doing is thinking, hey, we're going to get it all right, we're going to be perfect this year. That's not going to happen. No one's perfect. None of us are perfect parents, but if you can focus on one or two things at a time and healthy routines that really move the needle, then you're likely to be a little bit more successful.
It's just like what Dr. Karen Gordon said. It's about the habits. So start establishing the habits, starting with reading. And we hear about this from baby all the way up. You got to start the reading routine early.
Right. So reading is a very important healthy habit to establish early on. You want to carve out reading time, dedicated reading time every day. It could be before bedtime if bedtime is a little too rushed and you're just kind of doing your one story before they get tucked in. Maybe carve out some chill time in the afternoon, but you know, reading, they've shown improves children's vocabulary, their memory, their concentration. These things are so important, especially in the age of screen time. So you want to make sure that you carve out time every day for either for them to read or to be read to. So some ways that can be made easier is have books within reach throughout the home. So wherever they plop down, there's a book nearby. Read yourself and let them see you enjoy reading, because then you're providing a good role model for them.
Absolutely.
And then you just want to make sure that you follow their interest, whatever it is. So maybe their interest is unicorns. That's cool.
Jump on the unicorn
Maybe
train.
it's potty humor, like the Dav Pilkey books. My son is crazy for those. Captain Underpants, his new one is Dog Man.
But I kind of enjoy them too.
Well, if that's what their interest is, go for it.
They're kind of funny.
No judgment. No judgment.
Dave Pilkey's good. So we do a lot of comic books in our home, a lot of Pokemon books. Whatever you're into, if it's the cereal box, we're reading the cereal box.
Absolutely.
But we'll read it all together.
Absolutely. You can even, here's a sneaky way to do reading. You can turn on closed captioning on TV, and then even they're doing a little bit of reading while they're watching TV.
I like that.
Yeah, sneaky.
That's a good little hack there. Okay, let's move into the drinking and the hydration. I know with my kids it's an uphill battle. It's not like we have juice at home, but one only wants milk and one wants nothing. How do you drink nothing? Like the boy wants nothing. How do you have a full breakfast and then nothing? I don't get that.
Well, kids can kind of think like, taking time to drink water, that's boring.
It's so boring. I have stuff to do.
And kids in particular under 5, they don't even realize that they're thirsty, which means they can get dehydrated really easy. So you want to get in the habit of offering water with every meal and snack. Just do it without comment, just put it there and make it part of the habit. You also can, let them choose a really cute water bottle and then pack it to school or to daycare, and that gets them in the habit too. If they think that the taste of water is boring, some of the water bottles have, you can add fruit in to add a little bit of flavor.
Ooh, that's fancy.
But
I like that.
kids actually need 5 glasses of water a day, so that's what you should shoot for. And if it's a hot day, then they need even a little bit more than that.
Okay, just get it into the habit and put it out there.
You know, I packed the baby swell water bottles with them once and they didn't come home with it. I was like, that's not happening again.
That is the only problem with the cute water bottles. They don't always come
we
home
are
from
getting a
school.
less expensive water bottle. Okay, let's move on to physical activity.
Right, so kids should get around 60 minutes of heart pumping physical activity, but only 9% of Canadian kids do. So the great majority of kids are not getting enough exercise.
Yeah.
60 minutes is overwhelming. It can feel like quite a lot. So, you know, just something is better than nothing, and that's what we need to, that needs to be our mantra. So first of all, give them something protein rich, you know, hydrate them in the morning so they have energy to go for the day. And then, you know, try to make it fun. You can find toys that work in exercise. So, you know, your old school jump rope, here's a newfangled
this
jump
thing,
rope.
which we used to do every single recess.
Yes,
It's a lot
my
of
son
fun.
is obsessed. He does it while he watches TV.
Oh my gosh,
Something
I
like
love
an
him
indoor
for that.
trampoline, something like that can keep them active in winter.
Very cool.
And, you know, take the stairs, park far away, find those little opportunities. Kitchen dance parties are great ways to get everyone's hearts pumping.
love those.
Yeah.
That's the best exercise ever. Okay, where do you want to move on to
So
now?
the next very important routine to get into is washing their hands. So you probably have heard there's an awful flu going around.
Yes.
And the best thing that you can do to flu-proof your family is to make sure that they are in the regular habit of washing their hands. So before every meal, every time they use the bathroom, do the smell test if you have to.
Yeah.
You can make it fun by getting these fun foamy soaps. That makes it a little bit more fun. Maybe explain it to them too so they understand, you know, germs can make you sick, but you're washing them and, you know, sending them down the sink when you wash your hands. You should aim for 20 seconds. So that's 2 times singing the ABCs or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Okay.
So longer than most of us think.
Totally, that is longer.
So the next healthy habit to get into is sleep, and 40% of Canadian kids do not get enough sleep. If your child is a toddler or preschooler, they should be getting 10 to 13 hours. If they're school age, they should be getting at least 10, and most kids are not. So, you know, if the thing that you really need to make sure that you have limits on is sleep. So you need to enforce a bedtime, have a good bedtime routine. You know, maybe it involves one of these cute little cuddly stuffies here. But make sure they are powering down any devices at least an hour before bed. Those the light from those tricks your brain into thinking that it's daytime and makes it harder to go to sleep.
For sure.
And make sure that they are getting enough sleep.
Really good tips. And you know what? I like that you said off the top, don't try and do everything at once and don't try and get it perfect. It's not going to be perfect. We're all trying to figure out the best way to work with our own family. So institute a little bit at a time.
Absolutely.
You know, to get it done.
This is a visual attention verification question. Please read and answer the question in the document or write it down to be submitted later. Blank slide. Oh, it's not blank. It's got transitions on it. Practice here making or creating your own routine at home. Use a, you could write it, you could draw it, use an Excel spreadsheet, go to Word or make a table. This is kind of just a general frame, and I will show you a little bit like one that we've created for this PowerPoint as an example. So like 6 a.m. wake up, and then you'd put like a picture, like the time could be here, the description could be underneath the picture. This one's obviously not complete because it would have taken forever, but take a bath, get dressed, eat, brush your teeth, go to school, and you could put the times and the activities if you word them or whatever. So like playtime, you could find all sorts of graphics to put in there if you created it digitally, or even if you just printed it out, cut it and put it on like a piece of paper. Pause here to go to the Google Classroom forum to create your own routine and submit that to us.
You can also do it in like outline form if you don't know how to like do all the fancy stuff. You can just put like Monday and then the time and what you want to do. Like just do an outline.
Yeah, like type it. I provide them with the opportunity to just type it in one of the forums.
Okay.
So basically just do it however you want. It could be typed, it could be fancy. It doesn't really matter, whatever you feel like doing. Tips for transitioning between one activity to the next. Letting children know what's coming next is really important. Use 5, 10, 15-minute warnings. I know I use all of them. So when kids are getting ready to go to school in the morning, I'm like, okay, 15 minutes till we need to leave, 10 minutes till we need to leave, 5 minutes till we need to leave. Okay, go put your coat on, we need to leave. Another example is like, okay, in 5 minutes we're gonna go up and take a bath. That gives them time to process that one activity is ending and they need to be getting ready to do the next one. Children do well or better with step-by-step directions. So first we will do this and then we will do that. So that's another tip for like helping them transition. So especially if they're like, oh, mommy or daddy, when are we gonna do this? Okay, we need to eat dinner first and then we'll watch the movie.
I also do 2-minute warnings. Like I'll tell them that the activity's over in 10 minutes, and then 2 to 3 minutes before we're transitioning, I'll give them like a 2 or 3 minute warning, so they can wrap up whatever they're doing.
Good point. Things to remember: routines are how families organize themselves to get things done. Every routine is going to be unique to that family or individual. Routines help members know who should do what, when, and in what order. These are things I've already said. I'm just reiterating them in this slide. Signs your current routine isn't working, and that you might need to evaluate what's not working and how you can change it. When you're starting to resent how much time it takes to pry your child out of bed every day, or to make them, when transitioning from one activity to the next has become very difficult or impossible. If it's not even 7 o'clock in the morning and you've already had 6 arguments about the routine or more. When you're up late for work several days in a week because your child intentionally by accident missed the bus again, so you're late for work. When you find yourself scrambling to help your child with a math problem they forgot to do last night, even though you asked them numerous times to do their homework. Or when there's so much eye rolling, heaving, sighing, dragging of feet in your morning routine that you'd think that your life was a sitcom and not real life. So these are some signs, like if it's causing strain on your family, or your employment, or making you late for other activities in your routine, then it's time to really sit back and be like, what's working and what's not working, and why is it not working? How can I make it work if it's possible? And if I can't make it work, do I need to take it out or replace it with something different that's more manageable?
A good time to like look at your routine is when your child is exiting or entering different developmental stages, because their needs and their interests are going to be different, because they're transitioning into a different stage in their life. Also, something that I found with morning routines, kids are not always like their parent. Like, my grandma was a morning person, and I'm the type of person that I need an hour. So, like, thinking about if your kid has trouble getting out of bed, maybe waking them up early enough that they can have that time to lay in bed and just kind of wrap their mind around the world, it might be helpful. And then we talk about this later on too, but our body naturally has a rhythm of when they go to sleep. And so as your child gets older, they're going to want to stay up later naturally because that's what their body is telling them to do. And so really like making sure that they have like an hour like in their room, calm down, no screens, maybe reading a book or whatever, drawing, whatever they like to do to really calm their mind down if you're wanting them to go to bed at like 10 is important.
Good point. Things to remember: routines are how families organize themselves to get things done. Every routine is going to be unique to that family or individual. Routines help members know who should do what, when, and in what order. These are things I've already said. I'm just reiterating them in this slide. Here I would like for you to practice making family rules. Here's like a little picture about some examples of family rules. You can write them or make a cute graphic, whatever you're comfortable doing, and then submit it in the appropriate forum or form in the Google Classroom's Week 4 section. Some examples include like being polite, being honest, doing your best, listening to your parents, work hard, be respectful, respect yourself, etc. Pause here to create some family rules. I encourage starting off with like the top 3 to 5. The magic of chore rewards and work ethic. Do not pay your child for routine chores. You can pay them for extra chores that they're not usually responsible for, but ones that should be routine for them, do not pay them for. Instead, compliment them, encourage, admire their work. Allow their efforts to be the reward. I know as adults, how often does, and this is going to sound like gender stereotypic, but I don't mean it to. How often does a man mow the yard and then sit outside with a beer and enjoy the works of his labor? Just looking at it. Allow their effort to be their reward and how well it looks. Work in the family is an intrinsic value and is fundamentally worthwhile. So teaching them that, there's going to be times where you don't like to do this work, you don't like to do these chores, but they are necessary for adult responsibility when you're older. Allow them to visually see what they have accomplished. That in itself is a reward. Like, wow, look at, if you use stickers as a sticker chart, look at all the stickers you've earned this week. You've really helped the family out. Thank you. I appreciate it. Showing appreciation and complimenting and encouraging them to continue to do those activities and chores. This is a video by Love and Logic on some chores and some of the things he says about how he gets a teenager out of bed in the middle of the night to do their chores that they didn't finish during the day is really kind of funny, and I'm sure it works. I don't think I would risk my life waking a teenager up to do it though.
How do we get the chores done? How about 2 simple little rules? Keep it as simple as possible. How about the first one? Starts with the word never. If you're going to write it down, write the word never, capital letters, underline it. One of the few times that we ever say never, absolutes. Okay? Never tell a kid to do the chores right now. Don't write that part. Okay. Teased you. Never say right now. Okay? That's a little easier. Never say do it now. Provide a deadline in the future, far enough in the future that you have plenty of time to figure out what you're going to do if he doesn't do it. Do you have any friends who say, do it now or else, and they don't have any idea what or else is? Yeah. I want plenty of time to figure that out. Because if I tell a kid, you do this or I'm going to do that, will he engineer it in such a way that this doesn't fit anymore and I feel like a jerk doing it? That's how you know your kid's normal, right? Okay. So we've got a deadline in the future, far enough in advance I can figure out what to do if he doesn't do it. Rule number 2 is another never. Never remind. Today we said if you want your kids to listen, you say something once, and then something happens. And then if they say, but I didn't hear it, we say, how sad, I bet you'll listen better next time. There'll always be another time. Okay? And this is what's going to happen. Okay. So let's talk about some of those deadlines. Would this be a reasonable deadline? Can you have the dishwasher unloaded and all the trash out by the end of the day? Would that be reasonable? Sure. Would you like your boss to talk to you like that? One of the first core principles of love and logic is we will do whatever we can to maintain both the dignity of the adult and the dignity of the child. And if so, we'll get a lot less resentment from them. Okay? So, how about having it done by the end of the day? Next step, go to prayer. Pray that they forget. Gonna have a real world learning opportunity coming up here. Give me the courage not to blow it by reminding. And then now the end of the day comes, and the child goes to bed. It's okay. By the time I get up there to lay down some sincere, genuine empathy, I want that kid to be in a deep, deep sleep. Oh, sweetie, sweetie, this is such a bummer. What, Dad? I'm sleeping. Oh, this is so sad. What? I love, get them saying what. Then you know you got them. Okay, what? Oh, the dishes are still in the dishwasher. The trash hasn't been taken out. Time to get it done. And you'll find out the kids who are sound asleep a lot easier to work with than the ones who are wide awake. And nothing will warm your heart more than to watch him staggering out at 11 o'clock at night in the dark. Hopefully it's raining a little bit or something, and taking care of the job. And are you being angry or sad for them? Which is it? Sad? Oh, yeah. I hate to do it in the dark. Oh, boy. But I'll watch him, make sure everything's fine, okay? Might even help you with the dishwasher.
Shannon Otto is a full-time homemaker. All the same, keeping up with 3-year-old Hannah Joy, 5-year-old Joshua, and 6-year-old Charles eats up the bulk of her spare time. And then there's the housekeeping.
It takes a lot of effort, and I think it's a lot easier if you do try to stay on top of it. I try to stay on top of it.
Luckily for Shannon, her children are now old enough to help with the chores.
They take care of their room. They put away their toys right after they played with them. They clean up their craft table. They take out the trash, put away their laundry.
Of course, as any pediatrician will tell you, it's important that chores be appropriate to the age of the child.
So small children, small chores. Big kids, bigger chores. So with a small child, when you're cleaning house, they could do something that's appropriate for them, like emptying the trash cans.
I have to take it out of the trash can. I have to twist it up and put the twisty tie on it, and then I walk to the front door with it, and I open the door and I throw it out, and then I put it by the corner of the grass. And then that's where the trash man picks it up.
And remember that no matter how simple the chore, a child will need to be taught how to do it properly.
You can't just tell them, because we assume that because we know how to do it, they know how to do it. So you want to show them the first time, and then you don't want to expect perfection.
The important thing is to start early and be consistent.
You cannot wait until a child is 10 or 11 years old and say, oh, by the way, we all live here together, you have to help out. You want to let children know that chores are a part of living in a household. That it's not punishment, it's something that everyone has to pitch in and do.
In fact, Shannon prefers not to use the word chore, if only because it makes a routine task sound unpleasant. And to her credit, the kids don't really differentiate between their housework and their play.
I water the plants, I take out the trash, and I make my bed, and I sit on the couch and read books.
And Hannah Joy's favorite chore?
I like baking my cookies and eating them.
Of course, even the most cooperative child will sometimes shirk his duties. When Charles makes his bed, for instance,
sometimes I just push it under and don't do anything with the covers.
Crafty kids aside, what happens if your child flat out refuses to complete his chores?
Tell what the consequence is if it's not done. and then you keep the consequence. You don't nag, you don't plead, and you certainly don't do the chore if the child doesn't do it. Because what that teaches the child is, if I just wait long enough, she'll come and do it herself because she'll get tired of it.
Shannon Otto thinks that chores can, in a sense, be their own reward.
I think it also teaches them a work ethic, so I think it's really good to teach them young so that they do take pride in what they do and do it to the best of their ability.
Here is a chart of age-appropriate chores. I believe I have a question somewhere in regards to this. And so take a look at it, see what's appropriate for children of your age, or your children's ages, and use this for reference when that question comes up. And also, I would like for you to practice making a chore chart. You can type it, you can make a graphic, whatever you would like, but it needs to be turned in to the forum in our Google Classroom. Here is an example. Tweedledee has to clean his room, take out the trash, feed and water pets, clear the dinner table, put his toys away, and wipe down the counters. And then you can keep track of the days that he does those things. If you have a chart similar to this, or you can just name the kid and the chore and submit those age-appropriate chores. This is a visual attention verification question. Look back at that chore age-appropriate chart and determine what chores are age-appropriate for your children, and name at least 2 chores per child that you identified in your intake that they could possibly do. How to use rewards effectively. Kids begin to understand the concept of rewards around the age of 3. And rewards are more effective when they're fairly immediate. You could use charts for rewards, like once you get 10 stickers, then you can do this. But they also the goals need to be realistic, achievable, and specific for them to be able to have a sense of accomplishment from accomplishing them and then earning a reward for doing them. Help your child reach their goals if necessary, like you could remind them if they're failing to do something. You'd be like, hey, remember this was your goal, what do you need to do to reach it, stuff like that. Or how can I help you reach it if they're struggling with one particular issue with accomplishing their set goals.
You want to read? Yeah, I brought you books. You'll get prizes from the library. So let me tell you a little story about Mason.
Will you pay me?
Okay, yeah, I'll pay you. Mason goes to the library on a regular basis with his mom and loves reading books and diving into the literary world. One day, Mason's mom sees a sign up in the library that says that there's a summer reading program. If you enroll in this program and you count how many pages of books you read and you report back to the library, then they will give you a prize. Mason's mom thinks this is such a great idea. Let's sign up Mason to motivate him to read more. But what quickly happens is that Mason loses interest in reading. His love of reading starts to dwindle, and he starts to ask his mom if reading this or reading that counts towards his prize. He starts to not want to read anymore, and his mom has to actually argue with him and nudge him into reading so that he can fulfill this chart and get his prize at the end. What he's learning is that reading isn't fun and valuable and worthy in and of itself, the way it was before he knew about this chart process.
I'm done now, Peggy.
What he's learning is that he needs to be paid and externally motivated to read, or he won't want to. And eventually, Mason turns to his mom every time she suggests he reads and asks, "Will you pay me to do it?" Here's the thing. Rewards impede values. When kids learn to do something in exchange for a reward, they miss out on the inherent value of that thing. In fact, studies have shown that when the rewards stop, the behavior that we're trying to reward stops also. So in many cases, once you stop paying a child to read, they stop reading as much. Or if you stop giving a gold star for being kind, they might stop being as kind. We do it because we think we might earn a reward, and not simply because it's the interesting or kind or exciting or meaningful thing to do. Here's a quote from Alfie Kohn. "Research and logic suggests that punishment and rewards are not really opposites, but two sides of the same coin. Both strategies amount to ways of trying to manipulate someone's behavior. In one case, prompting the question, what do they want me to do, and what happens to me if I can't do it? And in the other instance, leading a child to ask, what do they want me to do, and what do I get for doing it? Neither strategy helps children to grapple with the question, what kind of person do I want to be? So we see that rewards actually impede value-driven behavior, becoming the kind of person I want to be, the kind of person who's a helper or a reader or a kind person, rather than the kind of person who gets the gold star. Even more surprisingly, rewards impede achievement as well. Studies have shown that people expecting to receive a reward for completing a task or for doing it successfully simply do not perform as well as those who expect nothing. I know you and I want our children to achieve well. I'm willing to admit that. I really would love to see them achieve. But the rewards actually mean that they're going to achieve less well. They're actually less likely to be creative, enthusiastic, to explore, and to really be energetically learning about that topic. And this is probably because once we're rewarded for something, our interest in that thing declines. But sticker charts work! Yes, they do. They work in modifying behavior in the short term, motivating children to get yet more rewards. So when you pay a child for a behavior once, they're more likely to be expected to be paid the next time. And tests and grades work too, but only in that they train children to be good test takers. In fact, scoring high on tests predicts only one thing about your future, and that is whether you'll score high on future tests as well. It doesn't make you a happier, healthier, more contributing member of society. It doesn't even mean that you've learned what's on that test or that you could apply it meaningfully in the future. Rather than rewarding children for what they do in life, let's help our children create lives that are rewarding. How do we do that while still encouraging them to reach for their goals, to develop their moral compass, to achieve greatness? How do we help toddlers achieve potty independence? Kids develop their literacy? Or teens to be household helpers if we can't pay them gold stars or gold coins to do it? 3 ideas for you. Number 1, set goals together. Ensuring that the goals that you have in mind are age and stage appropriate for your child, and taking time to make sure that you're relaxed and cozy and in comfortable conversation. You can bring up the goals that you're looking to set together, the achievements that you think would work for your child at this time. Just discuss together what you would love to improve about your family or about one person's behavior. Here are some prompts for you. Hey, I've noticed that we have really stressed, rushed mornings together, and I find myself nagging at you and repeating myself to get you to get ready on time. Is there something that we could do to help you make sure you're ready on time? How do you think we could solve this problem together? What do you need from me to make sure that we're ready on time by the door? Or something like, hey buddy, you've been getting up really early in the morning and it's waking up your siblings. I and we're all really tired and groggy because we're not getting enough sleep. What can we do to help make sure that you stay quiet when you wake up and don't wake up any other household members? It's a conversation. You will have so much more success in achieving your goals, whatever they may be, if your child is actually brought into the conversation and their voice matters. If they're in on your plan and on the same page as you, it's going to flow so much easier and the achievements will be greater and more meaningful. And then adjust accordingly if it feels like the goal is too big, too daunting, too difficult. Keep your expectations here in check. Most adults don't have perfect attendance or a perfect scorecard on your own goals and habits either. Are you kind to your partner 100% of the time? Do you go to the gym every single day? Are you flossing twice a day without fail? Yeah, me neither. We don't set these unrealistically high expectations for ourselves, and there is zero reason why we should hold children to those standards either. It's a process. We're learning, we're trying, we're adjusting, and we're having a conversation when things aren't going according to plan. Let's take a more human approach and just be in communication with our child of what we can achieve together. Number 2, show appreciation. Rather than being this authority that dangles rewards and gold stars in front of their face only to take them away if they don't perform, instead, go the authentic route. Whenever they're kind, or they use gentle hands, or they tidy their room, or they help out in the home, or they brush their teeth, show genuine appreciation. You don't need to praise them with "good job," but you can say, "Thank you, that was really helpful," or "I really appreciate that you did that." Everyone likes to be thanked for the effort that they put in. Number 3, encouragement and celebration. Celebration is when we honor and mark someone's achievements by joining them in their pride. Encouragement and celebration are things that we can offer children authentically every step of the way. When they're struggling, we can encourage them. I see how hard you're working on things. You can do hard things. And celebrating with them when they overcome. You did it! Let's party! You finished Harry Potter? This calls for some cockroach clusters. We want to reflect back to the child, how does it feel to you? You did it. You overcame. You worked hard. You tried your best. You must be proud. You can celebrate with a dance party, with a fun pillow fight, or with a hike to a favorite spot, but not by paying our child for their services. It is great to mark our successes, to pause and fully enjoy them, to celebrate them, to encourage children to achieve their goals and be the best versions of themselves they can be. But let's not dangle rewards, trophies, stickers, praise and prizes in front of them and make them jump through hoops in order to get them. Let's not undermine and squelch their inherent intrinsic motivation, curiosity, passion, and interest. Let's trust in their goodwill, and let's support them with encouragement when they're floundering, with acknowledgement and appreciation when they're contributing, and with celebration for their wins. You know what would be so rewarding for me? Hearing from you. So please head on over to the Instagrams, check out @parentingjunkie.com. I would love to follow you back and hear all about how this has landed with you in your stories. You can share it out with your friends, just tag me @parentingjunkie. You can DM me, or you can tag me in your...
The dangers of rewards is that if they learn to expect rewards, or they're only doing it for rewards, it can lead to nagging on both parts. Them nagging you, like, when can I get this? Or you nagging them, do this so you can get this. It could prevent children from developing a sense of doing the right thing. If rewards are not working for your family, be flexible. Evaluate what works for your child and what doesn't. Each family is different. Each child is different. We definitely talk about this when it comes to discipline as well. Certain forms of discipline work for one child, but they won't work for another, even if they're from the same family. Make sure that there's not an underlying issue that's making rewards not work for you, or that could make rewards less effective. and rethink your request if they're throwing a fit every time, even if there are reward systems in check. And then have a family meeting. Like that video said, they like to have their voices heard too. Make work fun. If parents can tell or show kids how work contributes to the family's well-being, children will have more positive attitudes about doing chores or be more positive while doing them. Parents make a to-do list of daily, weekly, or household jobs and post it on the refrigerator, offering kids these tasks to choose from. Putting them in a jar on popsicle sticks and letting them draw from the jar as well helps make it fun. And not like you're singling them out, like you're making one person do all the hard chores. And do what works. Don't let kids opt out. Giving kids a choice helps make work more tolerable. And by adding incentives or rewards, it can sometimes make work actually fun. And those don't have to be incentives or rewards that are like you can have candy or you can go see a movie or I'll buy you this or we can do that. It can be just like a certificate that's made for the fastest room cleaner or best vacuumer. And it really gets kids involved and it makes them feel a sense of accomplishment. And some other ideas are like going out to their favorite park or restaurant or renting a movie or inviting friends over for sleepovers are just a few ways that parents can reward hard work. There's also like you can make coupons or whatever, like good for one movie night of your choice with snacks of your choice, stuff like that. Or going to a park. It doesn't have to be stuff that costs money. It can be stuff that they just enjoy doing, like we can color together or draw together or go play soccer at the park or basketball. Do you have anything to say before I play the video? Okay. I was just looking over.
Hey guys, so if your kids are reluctant to clean up after play, please, you are not the only one. Here are 5 tricks to get them going and actually have some fun cleaning up. So number 1, turn cleanup into a game. We love these timers. Go! It is hilarious to see the hustle.
How much time was it?
Oh my goodness. Where are you gonna help?
How much time was it? Tell me!
Halfway there.
Oh no! I'm running out of time!
And I think it adds something to give a little play-by-play. That was a spin move. Down to the little pieces. Tess is actually helping, maybe. Ford especially likes the suspense aspect of it.
We're so close! So close, baby. I'm ready for this. So close, baby.
I don't know where you learned that from, baby.
Done.
Number 2, provide special tools. So I got my kids these little dustbins/scoopers, and I know this is really simple, but they just like having their own thing. You are on fire, miss. You could use cleanup tools for not only sand, but things like Legos or blocks. That's one way to do it.
I'm done.
We even decorated them. Number 3, make it easy/accessible. So this can be as simple as buying a step stool so they can actually reach to hang back up the play clothes that they could only rip down, or as in-depth as reorganizing their toys. I think that kids find it much easier to clean up when things are in clearly labeled individual bins. Nice job, buddy! Rather than overstuffed containers. No, we're still working on that part of the house. But I truly love all of the tricks we used in our Mom Hacks toy organization video because they just make it so easy and fun for the kids. Number 4, find their motivation. So I just realized for Presley, this is play dates. And who's coming over today?
Avery.
Whether it's that day or the next week, if I ask Presley, hey, do you want your friends to see your messy room like this? The answer must be no, because it really motivates her to get going. She is on a mission. We don't want it to be messy, right?
Yeah.
Kids are also motivated by positive feedback. Oh my gosh, Presley, I'm so proud of you. Finally, number 5, explain the much less attractive alternative. So if your combos go like this, Ford, it's time to clean up.
Yeah.
And even begging does not work.
Please? No.
You can say, all right, fine, Mom's gonna clean up, but I'm gonna bring out the bin, and anything that goes in here, you have to earn back. Okay, so where are you gonna put them? If they're out, Mommy's gonna put them in the bin.
No, in the basket.
Okay, you're gonna clean them up. Oh, now he's cleaning up. This has had a really high success rate so far. High five. Alright guys, we hope you find these useful, and remember, it is never too young to start, or at least attempt to have them clean up.
She's trying.
Yay! Let me know what works for your family in the comments. I will see you next week. Bye.
And let them learn from their failure. I know we talk about this a lot, but failure is an important learning tool. Don't always expect kids to do their tasks well. It's the effort that is important here, and that they're learning from any failure that they experience. Resist the urge to step in and take over when you think they're not doing it right. If the child fails to water the plant, let it wilt or die, so that they can learn the consequences of not doing those things. I would not definitely don't do that with pets if it's their job to like feed and water pets. Don't let the pets suffer. But plants are easy to either like bring back to life or replant. If teenagers have trouble on a job, if they're working or even get fired because they fail to do what's expected of them or to show up on time or do the job correctly, don't make excuses for them. Let them learn that their actions or lack of actions have consequences that they have to be prepared to deal with. Talk about what happened instead. Ask them why what they can do to keep from repeating their mistake, even if it's like they did the dishes wrong and the dishes were still dirty. You can have them redo them, or ask them if they would want to eat off that plate or drink out of that glass with the way it is. Don't rub in their failure, but don't shrug it off either. Talk about it. Help them work through why they failed and what they can do better next time. Talk about the why of work. As children get older, it's important for parents to discuss the meaning and purpose of work. Excuse me. This is the time to make it clear that jobs are not done for drudgery's sake, but to create value, to make products, to serve people, or even the greater good. I know sometimes it's going to be difficult to like walk the walk if you're a parent who's disabled, but still, if you're on disability or have a home health aide who comes in and helps clean up for you, those are still opportunities to talk to them about why work is important, because if you didn't have that worker coming in to clean your home, or if you didn't still do the chores on your own, then your home would be in a condition where the child could possibly be taken away, or you were living in filth, which could be dangerous to your health. So really talk about why chores and cleanliness and work is important to not just the household but society overall. And a young person needs to learn that there is purpose to all of this, that doing a job well can make you a better person. You can learn from those experiences, and it enhances your character and self-esteem. One way parents can start this conversation with their kids is talking to them about their own work experiences, or even, like I said, if you have someone who's working for you, talking about your experiences with them and how they really help your life, and talk about the good and the bad, and also talk about the lessons that you've learned and how those experiences shaped your character and your life. And teach them patience. In real life, work isn't always fun. I know I've had several jobs where I've absolutely hated working there, and I only did it because I had to, like I had to make money. But sometimes you have unfair bosses or customers that are rude, and hours that seem to just drag by and you're so bored. But those things are important to experience. Expect teens, if they have jobs, to complain about their jobs, to complain about their bosses or customers, and let them vent. In fact, encourage it. It's healthy. It can help them problem solve those issues that they might be experiencing, or role play some scenarios where maybe they could handle it better next time. And after all, adults often gripe about their jobs too. And it can help them really process what's happened. But where kids are concerned, parents should be ready to offer encouragement and teach patience. I think there was a study once on patience where they put marshmallows in front of children, and they're like, okay, I'm going to put this marshmallow in front of you, and if you can wait 5 minutes and not touch it or eat it or lick it or anything, and when I come back in 5 minutes, I'll give you 2 marshmallows instead of 1. And some kids failed, and some kids really waited it out because they wanted that second marshmallow.
Hey guys! Hi! So if you are constantly telling your kids to be patient, you are definitely not alone.
Mom, let's go!
You gotta be patient! You too, guys?
And the good news is, patience is not about your kid's personality. It's something you can teach them.
There's hope. And we're so excited to have Sophia back. She's an emotional intelligence expert, a mom of soon-to-be 4, and the creator of Q Wonder, an amazing app that I will link below. And today we're going to talk about teaching patience.
First, start early to teach them that waiting is just a part of life. So get a timer or a little plastic hourglass for your kitchen, and every time they ask for something, set the timer for a minute. If they're tugging at your heels and they want to know when dinner's ready,
I'm so hungry.
I know.
Have them set a timer for 5 minutes of playtime. And that way, kids who don't really understand what does a minute feel like, what does 5 minutes feel like, they'll all of a sudden start grasping the concept of time, and they'll know what they can handle and what they can wait for.
And how about a little twist? Every time they ask you again, you reset the timer. That'll break them.
That's what 10 minutes feels like, kids.
Time up? Yeah!
And another fun way to practice patience is to play board games together, because you have to take turns and you have to wait on each other.
Now hold the funny pose while the other players count to 20. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20. You guys are so patient.
Number 2 is reward patience the right way. So if I've got my kids in the grocery store and they behave really well, I love giving them a little treat at the end. But here's the tip, guys. You can't give them something that they've asked for.
No, Lord, no.
Otherwise, they're just going to ask for everything in the store the entire time. It's going to drive you crazy.
I have totally been there. That makes so much sense.
Yes.
No.
So much better when the reward is a little bit of a surprise and when it's mom's idea.
You were so good, buddy. You got slime.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's go.
And finally, teach distraction. Distraction is the key to patience. It's turning your child's attention away from what they want. And if you've ever met an adult that has any impulse control, it's because they learn to distract themselves at a young age. So if you're standing in line, if you're sitting in a restaurant, play games like I Spy.
Something's pink.
Chelsea's bow.
No.
The baby doll.
No.
My nail polish.
Yeah.
We play a really fun game called 2 Truths and a Lie.
Mommy had a tap dance, I had a pet hamster, and I once had pink hair. Which one's a lie?
And then they figure out things about you that they never knew before.
I didn't know you did tap dance.
I did!
And so you're teaching kids, instead of getting frustrated, here's an opportunity to have fun.
I love that. Sophia, thank you so much. For more awesome games on how to teach patience and other really important social and emotional skills, check out the Q Wonder app.
He's my patient.
My kids love it. Sophia, they love you in it. I will see you next week. Bye, guys.
See ya.
And model the ethic of work. Kids learn good work habits from the people around them, the people who role model it. That means showing kids that work is important and it's a part of a balanced life. For example, maybe children of 2 working parents may see their parents making certain choices, or doing extra work to get ahead, or hiring a nanny because they have to work long hours, or maybe their mom and dad are both a working couple, and that their mom left the job 2 years ago because it interfered with their family life, or maybe dad had to make some sacrifices to take night classes to earn a higher degree and certification to advance in his career. We want them to put work in perspective. It's not about learning, or we want them to know it's not about earning a lot of money and buying things, but it's about improving your life and doing something that you enjoy and helping contribute to your family and your community. Here is a video. It's a really good one on like she makes a schedule and chore charts and stuff like that. It's really detailed, and I wish I was more like her.
Hey guys, welcome back for another Full Joy Mom video. In today's video, I'm going to share with you a bunch of different ways that I've found success teaching my little kids to form new habits, get their chores done, do schoolwork, routines, all those fun things. So stay tuned.
You're watching Full Joy Mom.
Well, if you're new here, my name is Dawn Marie, and I am the proud, happy, blessed, thankful mom of 4 little kids. And we homeschool, and we just moved, and things are crazy. My daughter's touching the camera. We'll just go down together. Liza, please put it back up. We're just going to talk about a load of different ways that we've found success doing chores and get your creative juices flowing. So the first one I wanted to show you are these little chore packs. You can use them for chores, or we actually use them for school. They're just named chore packs. My son made one for everybody. It's literally just paper folded in half, taped on the side. Leave the flap for the top and get some little Velcro dots. You could make it however you want. You could just use an envelope. All of these are, you be as beautiful and creative and extravagant as you want to, or you just sloppy success beats perfect failure, and the system's probably not going to be the one you use for forever anyways. So whatever works for you is the point of the whole video. Okay, so inside are different cards that have all of his subjects on them. He can read, so I didn't have to use pictures, but you could use pictures if you have somebody that doesn't read. And then, bummer, what are you going to do about that?
I don't know.
Okay. So then on the back of each little index card that I cut in half, I have instructions written for what they're supposed to do. So, this one says, you may do as many pages as you want, but at least 2. So that's that. My son wakes up in the morning, or, well, we have so many different routines. Let's not go there. But when he's using this, he can pull it out all on his own, and as he finishes them, then I have just like a plain old sticker chart. I'm sure we've all used those. I found this one from myboredtoddler.com, and they had a bunch of different themes. I think there was like a dinosaur theme is his. This is my youngest daughter's. But so then for the chore packs for my 2 that are school aged, as they complete every chore or every subject in here each day, then they get a sticker, and once they get to 5 stickers, they get an ice cream cone. Sticker charts are great because you can make them whatever you want them to. I've literally had it be as plain as drawing the lines myself on construction paper and just putting their name on top, and then drawing an X or using whatever kind of stickers you have around the house. You can make the reward anything. You could make the reward at the end of the day, however many check marks they have, that's how many Smarties candies they get, or that's how many gummies, or for a while mints were a treat for my kids. Or you could make it be, for my son it was when he did his chores for 5 days in a row, at the end of the 5th day he got that ice cream cone. This is the 3-year-old's, and hers is using your words. That's something that she's working on. So she goes an entire day and she uses her words, then she cuts out the little animals that go in and glues them on. Sticker charts really truly are great. Even as adults, I use them in my adult life. There's something about getting to place that check mark. So a couple of the check mark ones that I've done, I just made this one the other day, and my son loves checking things off. So I was just sort of trying to map out, what things that I want to be working on in our AM and PM routines and kind of get back on focus. We're working on getting out of survival mode, like I talked about in the last video. And he found it laying around, and he started checking it off on his own. So you can make copies of these, do a new one every day. It's not that much paper because you're going to be not probably doing it for that long. It's just helping you get back on track till you move on to the next system. Or you can laminate it, and then you use the dry erase marker, and you can erase it every day. So I also made the same thing for myself. You know, even if you don't have a laminator, you could literally get masking tape. I've actually done this before, not masking tape, sorry. Packing tape, clear packing tape. Okay, so let me really quickly show you. Up here is a schedule that we were using while the weather was amazing here in Pennsylvania. We had a few weeks where your focus is constantly shifting as a mom of little children. Their naps are changing, the seasons are changing, what you need to focus on in discipline is changing so much, what they're learning is changing. And so, you know, I feel silly even showing you all these different systems that we've used. But at the same time, we're thriving with them. We're seeing success with them. We're enjoying life with them, making progress even on days that doesn't feel like it by constantly, you know, going, what are we focusing on? So when I used this, the main focus of this was I needed to get a little bit of school done, and we needed to be outside as much as possible because the weather was absolutely beautiful. And so, you know, I had everything written in here because we had been crazy all summer, we had moved, and I really needed to be pretty strict with reminding myself what in the world even needs to occur every day. So that was why I did it by the time, and I have so many notes up here because I just, you know, I don't know, it was all so new. The routine we were doing was so new. So sometimes I have laid it out for myself where I can see it. I like having a planner, but I also like having something as important as what we're accomplishing every day out for everybody to see. So now let me show you my more fun, more extensive, took a lot more time. We really enjoyed this method when we did it. Let me show you this one. Let me fix the camera. Okay, so I forgot really quick before I go over that one, save the best for last. This was another thing we did last year with my son Jackson. You know, I don't mind rewarding positive behavior. People go to work at jobs and they get paid. Last year, this was as simple as it was for my son Jackson. These were the subjects that he was to do every day, and then the ones highlighted in yellow, he only did a few days a week, and every time he completed the subject without whining or complaining, he got the check mark, and then at the end of the week, he felt great about going over and getting to put that check mark on by himself, because then at the end of the week, he got 10 cents for every mark that he had, and that was really awesome because then we were able to teach him money principles along with that. So that was one of the systems he used last year. The one that I was trying to describe where we had it on every single page was this one here. That saved space. Last year he was doing school 4 days a week, and so I had all 4 days right there with everything that he was to do in the day. I left myself space at the bottom. As you can see though, it does not look perfect, but I could write in, you know, if we were doing some sort of extracurricular, and that was a great way to keep track of everything for him. I had that on the clipboard. And
so that video has a lot of ideas. If you would like to finish it, please go to YouTube and search out that list, and she can maybe help you find other ideas that might work for you if other routines and structure aren't working for you. So there's also going to be an element of finding balance between that nurture and structure. So nurture is like how warm and caring we are with them versus like the structure part where we're like, do this and do this now. I expect you to do this and this. So balance is one job of a parent, and every family has their own take on how much is too much. But it is essential that we teach our children balance in terms of work and chores and all that other stuff. In a book called Quiet Strength, Coach Tony Dungy deliberately taught his coaching staff and players that family time was their top priority. A work ethic that sacrifices family turns out to be all work and no ethic. Know know what is and is not acceptable for your family, and stick to what works while dispensing or getting rid of what doesn't work. Here's like a little picture on finding that balance between nurture and structure. And finding that balance in order for children to thrive and develop in a healthy way, we need to really carry out both roles, nurture and structure, but we need to find the perfect balance for our family. If you only provide the nurture piece without any structure or limits, or without holding children accountable, your children can become spoiled, unappreciative, self-centered, and not learn how to do things for themselves. I had a friend in college who was an only child, and her parents would come to college and do her laundry for her and fill her car up with gas because she didn't learn how to do those things when she was younger until her roommate was like, "Kid, you should know how to do these things. You're an adult. Your parents shouldn't have to come help you." So her roommate taught her how to do those things. Being spoiled, unappreciative, self-centered, and not learning how to do things for themselves are hallmarks or indicators of an overindulged child, and your children may mistake your kindness for weakness and may not view you as a source of support when they are in need because you provide too much leniency, and you may not be able to help them. But if you only provide the structure piece without building a strong relationship of trust, your children may feel resentful, unloved, abandoned. They may be less likely to cooperate or willing to follow the rules or internalize them. They may fear punishment, and children may try to fly under the radar, try not to get caught, hide their mistakes and vulnerabilities to you. And when they do these things, you will miss opportunities to influence your child's behaviors and choices in a more positive way. Your children need you to provide both nurture and structure as you interact with them, cautiously deciding if you need to provide more love or attention, or if you need to provide more structure or guidance. So if a child threw a ball in the house and broke a picture frame, your first instinct may be to discipline them because you know that your child knows that they're not supposed to be throwing that ball in the house. However, you need to be sure that they're physically not hurt first. That's where the nurture comes in. You nurture them first, you calm them down, and then you discuss the need to clean up the broken glass and why you have the rule against playing with the ball in the house to begin with. And then conversely, your daughter or whoever threw the ball may be very angry at their brother for doing it and disrupting the house. Or in another example, siblings being mad at one another for borrowing their supplies but failing to put them back where they belong. This is an ongoing complaint that you get, and you understand your daughter's frustration. However, when she hits her brother for not doing what she expects and putting those supplies that he borrowed back where he got them from, you need to teach her that that is unacceptable, and you may need to enforce the rule of no hitting before you deal with her strong feelings and emotions towards her brother. So looking at the situation and determining, what should I do first? Should I nurture or should I apply structure? There are not any hard, fast rules about when you should be nurturing or when you should use structure. You may make one decision in one situation with one child and a completely different one another time. It is the overall balance that is important and that impacts your child's development, not your choice at any given time or one time. But they also, there's a balance between like work and family. So turning off cell phones, making sure you're not doing work stuff at home if you don't need to be, and being there with your family. This is an audio attention verification question. Please pause here and answer the following question in a document that you've created, or write it down to answer, and then submit it in the appropriate forum and in the Google Classroom. What can our children learn from routines, structures, rules, and chores? Please take the quiz for week 4 in the Google Classroom and the participation survey. Thank you for participating in this week's class. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.